Yo, good afternoon, good afternoon. Today is Monday, October 5th, 2020. The stock I want to talk about today is GRNQ. GRNQ, market cap 72.2 million, float 16.53 million. It's already traded over 100 million on the day. Again, man, today I took a minus 3.9% loss. This is very interesting today because it looked great. And at one point I was up almost 4% on this. But due to just what has been going on recently, it has been giving me more confidence to try to capture maybe a 5 or 6% move, or even more than 4% basically, which is what I've been trying to capture. And this just so happened to just double top right here and die out. So let's get into this. So at 825, which is right here in this area, okay, let's zoom up. Right here. So in this candle is when I purchased. Now the difference between this and the last trade I made, which is kind of something I still need to work on a little bit, is waiting for it to break in the pullback. But this had such a strong break, as you can see, the volume bar just increased higher than it has the whole last hour in this one candle, and it broke this top because I was buying the breakout right here of the reversal. And it had a nice pop. I happened to get in. The breakout was at 234, and my entry was at 234.85, so a great entry. And then it instantly had a dip, and it was down. I was already down about 3%, but just seeing the strength again, as I talked about in the last video, the strength of the level 2, the strength of the time and sales, the strength of the chart. This is one of the highest percent gainers on the day at the time. Gave me the confidence when I seen this big boom and this big volume bar to just hold through it, and sure enough, it gradually climbed back up, and it winded up topping of the next resistance level in 245, which is realistically where I should have just took my +3, a little over 3%, which would have been nice. But again, like I said, lately I've been collecting these 2, 3, 4% profits, and then they would run, you know, a good 6, 7, 8, 9%. So I wanted to give this one a little bit more time to for it, you know, to play out. It just didn't work in my favor. So I placed the trade twice. So I entered at 234. I entered at $2.34 85. It shows in decimal points, so 234.85. Then at 836. So you can see I held on to it. Usually, if you notice my trades, my time in my trades, I'm holding for, you know, maybe 5-6 minutes max. Well, this one I held for 11 minutes. So 8. That was the closing bell you just heard. Well, let's see. So right here in this huge candle is when I took out, man. Because as you can see, look, the volume, huge in sellers, just top, huge in sellers. So the sellers started taking over. It got heavy right here in green, but look, volume bar of the red, higher than the highest one in green. That right there was the first indicator for me. But again, I wanted to give it a little more time to play out, and it just didn't work out in my favor this time. And when I noticed this, boom, I instantly had to get out. And then I wound up getting out for a minus 2.9%, a little under 3%, which was still a good exit point. Stuck to the plan. But I don't know why, because with this huge volume, this should have been the sign. And so I decided, I said, hey, well, let's dip buy it. So I decided to try to dip buy it in this candle to catch the bounce, and it really didn't bounce, as you can see, and then it just dropped. So as soon as I bought it in 837, I immediately sold it in this next candle and said, dude, this isn't gonna work. And I just sold it because as soon as I bought it, I regretted buying it. As soon as I bought it, I was like, oh, hey, I'll just buy the dip, thinking it could shoot back up to the 240. If I bought it, I entered at 223, and this candle right here, I was thinking, oh, cool, maybe it could just shoot and retest this area, collect 20 cents on 400 shares, which would have been, about an 8% profit. But I mean, it already showed it was turned. I mean, come on, look at this huge red candle, huge volume bar. I mean, that was a telltale sign. And so I immediately regretted it, and I just exited for a 1% loss. So minus 2.9 and minus 1% put me at minus 3.9% loss today. And then it wound up fading out the rest of the day. But it looked like a great morning spike reversal. So when I'm coming in here, as you can see, it's battling on the VWAP. So the VWAP is evaluated average price. Typically, for day traders, if it's under the VWAP, it's controlled by sellers. If it's above the VWAP, it's typically controlled by buyers. Well, I seen the strength of the buyers coming in this area, which is where I purchased it. So I wanted to buy the break here because it did what I wanted it to do. Originally, I wanted to buy the break here, but as I seen the volume starting gradually climbing higher, and then it had this nice pop over the VWAP, a strong pop in one candle over the VWAP. This one right here, boom, that's what gave me the confidence to buy. It would have realistically been better if I would have waited like I've been doing. If you look at the videos from the very beginning of my trading journey, I was just buying the breaks. But I started realizing they always have a nice pullback before the rip. But instead of waiting for the pullback, I just bought the breakout, and it winded up executing me, right at the actual break. When realistically it dropped down to the 227 area, and I could have bought the dip, which would have been an extra 8 cents. So 8 times 4 is 32. So that would have been an extra 3.2% profit. So when it actually reached up here, when I was up about 3.9%, if I would have bought the dip instead of the break, that I would have most definitely got out for a 6 to 7% profit there. But it topped at 4% and then faded off. So I think that's a takeaway that I have to take away from this trade is, again, just let it break and then wait for it to pull back. But again, from when you're watching this in real time, I seen the strength of this, and this huge candle bar made me believe it could have squeezed straight up here with no pullback, but it did have a pullback and then reached that point. I was expecting a straight squeeze. That did not happen. If it would have did a straight squeeze, I would have definitely exited here. But because it was bouncing around, and then top, but even this one right here should have gave me the sure sign. You see the volume bar is higher than the green volume bar. So there was way more sellers in that one candle than the biggest green one. So, I mean, that should have been told me already. So, yeah, I think the takeaway from these particular trades is just, again, when it breaks, wait for the dip, man. Just wait. Don't be impatient and just wait. But it looked like a beautiful setup was coming from this entire thing. I mean, it had a huge run from $1 to $3, which is a 200% move. But, again, it did have its bounce already. It did have the reversal. And I could have bought the break here. But I've been coming to the market later because through my data, I've noticed that I do a lot better after 8 o'clock, 8:30. I've been executing trades a lot better. So I've been avoiding the open a little bit and letting them play out. And if you look at it from here, right there, as you can see, it looks like it's gradually climbing back, which is what, and it was holding over the VWAP. As you can see, it bounced right off the VWAP right there. So right here, it bounced off of it. So after that, that's what gave me the confidence to say, okay, I'm gonna stay in here. And I was expecting it to go back, but then as you're watching, boom, then that big candle came in and I was out. And then I tried to dip buy it here, which I instantly regretted, and just got out in the next candle for a -1 loss. So a minus 3.9% loss today. And then CBAT, man, CBAT. CBAC came back, man, and I was kind of tempted to wait to be patient for this, but I didn't really see much volume. But as you can see over here, I'm just going to bring it up right here for you. VBAT is what I traded last week on Friday. And I told myself, man, if this could, because of the chart, because of the daily, if you look right here, Friday it finished, you know, topped out right here. So I told myself, man, if it could do a multi-day breakout and break this 375, it could run, but the volume's still lower. I mean, that's still high volume though, man. That's still what is that? 39 million shares. I mean, that's still relatively good volume, man. But I mean, this was a day I believe I traded it in the past too, almost 200 million. But hey, man, like I said, and then it winded up running, but at this point, I'm out of day trades. Again, I didn't realize I was out of day trades because when I executed my second trade, which I instantly regretted, like I said, if I did not try to buy it here, instantly I noticed, because like I said, man, I like to see my level 2 moving fast. I like to see my time in sales moving fast. And it was moving at a good pace here. It just wound up failing because I want to say this already had its bounce, and now it was just boop, boop, boop. Kind of like a dribbling ball, right? You bounce it as high as you can, bounces, 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 gets lower, slower, 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 boop, 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 boop. You know what I mean? And I think this one pretty much just already died out of its bounce. But, I mean, it gave me a good shot, and if I would have collected that 3 to 4%, that would have been nice. If I would have bought the dip instead of buy the break right here, you know, if I'd have just waited and bought the dip here, that would have been a nice 6%, which I would have taken because that was what I was looking for. When I seen it tap here at 4%, I almost hit that sell button. But again, like I said, what I've been noticing lately, we have been getting a little more movement. So this time I just said, let me just, you know, let it play out. And then it just didn't work out in my favor. But after I entered the second trade, for some reason, I was still thinking I had trades. So like I said, I like seeing them flash. So when I say see them flash, when they're flashing, that means there's a lot of action going on in it. Okay, so WWR. Oh my God, as you can see right here, I put the red line in because I thought I had a trade. I did not have a trade. I've traded WWR in the past. So I told myself, man, if it breaks right here, which it would have probably shaken me out, because if you want to get closer, I would have bought it at this break. And then it winded up dipping back down to 6. So I would have probably took a loss. But it did, you know, what I thought it would do, because the difference between here and WWR and CBA, I'm sorry, not CBAT. Let me go back. GRNQ. Yeah, GRNQ. So the difference between GRNQ and WWR is that GRNQ had a nice run, then had its rip, and then dropped and it bounced. So it already had its bounce, and the bounce failed. It didn't crack. It failed, and it just failed out for the rest of the day. And I tried to buy after the first initial bounce. So with WWR, there was no first. This was the first initial bounce. As you see, a spike. So we're from the 4s to the 7s, drops. Now this is the first bounce. But this bounce happened to work, and it broke. I mean, that's what I was looking for GRNQ, was for it to catch that bounce and continue to run like it did with WWR, which I noticed WWR in this area, but I was already out of day trades. I mean, this would have been a lot better, as you can see the action that happened, and then look at this pure squeeze, shoo, all the way into the 9s. So, you know, it's just this is the game that's being played, man. And realistically, I'd love to be over, the PDT, which when I do, it's going to be exponential for me because of things like this. You know, so I already took my losses. I'm out of trades. And because of the fact I'm out of trades, there's nothing else I could do with this. And same thing like CBAT. There's nothing else I could do, even though this is beautiful. It's a beautiful squeeze climb. That's beautiful. Nothing I could do, because I already took my trades. GRNQ was the trade of the day. It was the highest percent gainer at the time, or one of the top. It was like top 3, I believe. But like I said, it had its nice, beautiful pattern. When you're looking at these things in real time, this is what I had seen when I'm coming to the market. So I'm seeing it, you know, boop, 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 and then now it's reversing and it's getting back over. And then, you know, sometimes when it's holding just below the VWAP level, and then it, as you can see, drop below, busted through it, drop below, busted through it, drop below, busted through it. So, you know, it's telling me that it was a battle between buyers and sellers, that the sellers weren't just in full control. And because it had this big run from $1 to $3, we're in the middle of it. You know, I'm right smack 50% in the middle of the move, that I felt that, you know, it could bounce up. Realistically, I was hoping to get out in the 270s. That was the move I really wanted to capture. Again, I wanted to buy the break here originally, but when I seen this, I'm like, why wait? It's having a nice move here, and it did wind up double topping. Never wanted to break in that, which that should have been the sign for me. For me personally, in the way I trade this, that should have been the sign right there when it double topped and had a huge red candle after that double top. That should have been the sign, because that's the biggest volume bar, as you can see down here, was on this double top, and it was a red. So, you know, that should have been the signal for me already, just to get out. So again, man, you know, this is always an adjustment game. This is why I record this, so I could figure it out. Okay, what went wrong in this particular trade for me? It had a nice gradual climb, had a nice burst in volume for the green, could have collected a good 4%, but I'm on the backside of this bounce already, and it double topped and nowhere near the high of the bounce. So it winded up fading out. Sellers took control. So, you know, I need to be cautious of that, where if it's up and it already has a nice bounce, then I need to be more patient for it to at least, I should have stuck to my original plan of waiting for it to break this, because if I did, I would have probably never entered, because that was a quick pop and drop. So that, you know, I might have tried to dip by it here, possibility, but again, you know, in hindsight, took a minus 3.9% loss on 2 trades. So, you know, an average of a little under 2%, minus 2% per trade. You know, and that's the plan. I mean, ultimately, that's the plan. If it's not going to do what I want to cut it within the -2, -3% range, because I want to try to give it more wiggle room to collect that 5 or 6% in this current market, in these market conditions. But again, man, WWR, again, popped up on my radar. Just didn't have the day trades left to trade it. CBAT, again, was something I had on my radar the whole time in this corner over here, because I wanted to keep my eye on it. But when I came into the market, let's see, we're on CBAT right now. So again, I came into the market about 8:30. So as you can see, at the time I came into the market and was looking at it, that's all I'm seeing. So that's already real choppy, and then just flat lines, you know, and not too much heavy volume. I mean, I want to know where the volume's at. Let's see how much volume it had in that first part. So as you can see, pre-market didn't really have much volume. Maybe a couple 100,000 shares. 3 million, let's see, 3.2, 1.6 in this candle. So 4.8, 4, 5, 6.5, so almost 7 million. So like 7.5 million, okay? So 7.5 million shares being traded. I mean, typically, I mean, that's a lot. But, I mean, in these current market conditions, man, I want to see heavy fucking volume. Because, look, 7.5 million, 8 million is less than half the float of CBAT, okay? So CBAT, it's less than half the float. I normally don't like trading anything that's not even close to the float, because I want to see more. And at that time, it was nowhere near. But as it progressed, boom, boom, boom. So we go from 8 million to 9 million, 12, 11 million, 12.5 million. And then when it breaks through, then the volume starts picking up. Look, in this one candle, it's 5.6 million. In this candle, 6 million. In this candle, 7 million. See, so it started picking up after it had its break of Friday's high. I'm sorry, after it had the break of the multi-day high. It started picking up a little bit after Friday's high, but after the multi-day, it ran. But typically I like trading new stocks every day. I normally don't like rewatching because I don't want to get too attached to one specific chart, one specific company, because I've done that in the past and it winds up biting me in the ass. Like, especially if I missed a run, or again, like Friday, I collected a good 4% of CBAT, in which had a nice move, a potential 9%, and that could cloud your judgment on any specific move because the news is, there's no longer news there. It's just a high percent gainer. That's it. And I don't like to focus on one, and then I like playing whatever's the hottest thing on the day. And as you can see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the 7th best percent gainer on the top 10% gainers. And I usually like to play the top 3. The top 3 is what I'm looking for. And I want to see them move it. So, this one didn't really pick up speed till later, and I was already out of trades. But it's nice to see because, like I said, I like playing later movements. And if I would have just been a little more patient, came into the market later, even if I'd have came in at 11, that would have been a nice move from $4, and it held over this break. Look, if I'd have came in, later in the day, and that's pretty much what I did on Friday. Friday, I believe I executed my trade at 12 o'clock. So, if I'd have came in this, bought it at 4, ran to 478, that would have been a great move, which I'd have probably got out somewhere in here for a 6 or 7% profit. So again, man, it's just the way the game is played. I was out of day trades, nothing I could do about it. And I was very happy with Grnq from what it looked like from when I originally was purchasing it in this area. Because I mean, look at it. I mean, that's nice. You can see it's coming back. It broke through the VWAP level cleanly. Had a small spike in volume cleanly. Not too much spike of volume, but I seen enough activity going on in the time and sales and enough activity going on in the bid and ask in the level 2 that it gave me the confidence to purchase that. And as I said, if I would have just was patient instead of buying the actual break, and if I would have waited for the dip, I would have got a better execution, maybe in the high 220s instead of the mid 230s. And then that would have gave me my nice 6% move in this candle. And I would have most likely took that. But, I can't be mad at minus 2.9 and I can't be mad at minus 1. Those are both within my ranges of loss. So again, you got to stick to your plan and solidify your loss in your head of what you're comfortable with taking losses with. And I'm very comfortable with taking a less than 3% loss and a 1% loss. Those are good loss categories for me personally. So I think again in just looking at the chart, wait for the bounce of the break because it's what I have been doing. This looks so clean to me that I really anticipated a squeeze because of how fast it popped, because of everything I was seeing here, everything I was seeing down here. It popped fast. So I was really anticipating it to clean straight to 245. If it would have been a clean pop to 245, I would have definitely got out there and then just waited for another bounce to buy the bounce. But it didn't have the clean pop. And, live to fight another day, man. So minus 3.94% on Grnq, which basically gives me my first red day for October. And it basically has me break even for October, seeing how my first day was 4%. And now this day is minus 3.94%. So basically break even so far for October. But again, man, lots of volume. It was trading at 100 million shares, which is what I like to see, man. It was trading roughly around 100 million shares when I entered. The float is 16.53 million. That's what I want to see. I want to see the rotation in the float because the more they pile on and rotate usually causes the catalyst for a squeeze. And as you can clearly see, this company has had major squeezes in the past. Look, this was from the 25 cents to the $3. Here in one day, from 75 cents to over $3. You know, here a huge gap from $1 to over $2. And then again today, a huge gap and a nice run from $1 to $3. So I mean, it shows that it has the capability of making the move I was looking for. Okay. But again, in this slower market, I've noticed that the sellers have taken over. The higher the volume gets, it's most likely less than a 50-50 chance that it's going to go red in this current market. So I'm still waiting for the market to turn in my favor. We have been getting little spikes of stuff that do look promising, like I seen in WWR. Like I said, man, that's nice. That's beautiful. After this, that would have been a nice morning spike reversal. Clean. I mean, this was the first bounce. That's the difference between GRNQ and WWR. WWR would have been the first initial bounce. GRNQ, it had already had its first initial bounce and then failed. This one had its first initial bounce, pulled back, tried to basically double topped it at its bounce, and then burst it through. I mean, it held, it maintained the strength well over the VWAP level. And then, you know, like I said about CBAT, this one was beautiful. It was just, you know, again, it was a stock I had previously traded. The chart looked good enough for me to keep it on my watch list, but nothing happened till after I had already executed my day trades and I was out of day trades. So, you know, it's just the type of things I look for. You know, like I said, as long as you stick to your plan, it's always a great day trading, whether red, green, or in between. You feel me? So, you know, minus 3.94% is okay with me when you put it into perspective that was 2 trades. So averaging less than minus 2% on the 2 trades for today. That's very good when you consider that, you know, and I just did my data I just ran through my data this morning after I executed these trades and after I put the numerical data into my spreadsheets. And I realized that since I've adjusted to this market, I've been averaging minus 2% per loss, and I've been averaging plus 2.6% per gain. So, you know, I'm staying at the 50-50 range. After these 2 red trades, I'm about 48% win rate after these 2 red trades. But if you stay in the 50-50 range and your wins are always bigger than your losses, then you're always going to be profitable in the long run. So, you know, it's just a matter of perspective and understanding that. And, you know, I've seen big traders with a 1-to-1, 1 to 1.2, 1 to 1.4 risk reward and be very successful. So I'm within that range. I'm about a 1 to 1.2 to 1.3 risk reward ratio. So my reward is slightly bigger than my risk and trading at 50% right now. But I can't wait till the market heats up, man. That's really what I can't wait for, to where I'm seeing, you know, WWRs happen 2 or 3 times a day, where I'm seeing CBAT happen, you know, 2 or 3 times a day. But see, for CBAT, it's only a 32% gainer. I want to see these all 100, like I've said in the past. I want to see 100% runners or more getting straight squeezed, because those are the ones I could easily capture 20% on. Those are the ones I could easily capture 13% on, because they move so fast. Very, very similar to the way I could easily capture at 2 or 3%. Because as I said, on GRNQ, I was up almost 4%, but I just wanted to give it a little more wiggle room to try to collect that 5 or 6%, and it just didn't work out in my favor this time. So, you know, it happens. You know, this is how the game is played. So, yeah, man, overall, in perspective of it all, you know, it was a great trade day. Took my minus 2.9, took my minus 1. That is well within my range of comfortable loss, and I'm perfectly okay with it. The chart looked beautiful to me. Again, for myself, when it breaks, just wait for the bounce, man. Unless you notice pure squeeze, unless something comes in super heavy, like, and I'm talking super heavy, then I could see me, okay, just buying the break, because if it's super heavy, it makes it a lot easier to collect an easy 3, 4, 5%. And that's what I've been seeing lately from when I'm buying, is me being up, you know, 2 or 3%. And I've been taking those 2 or 3% profits, but in the last couple of weeks now, last week and the week before, I've been getting nice good runs of, nice solid runs of, 6 to 9% after I'm already sold for a 3 or 4% gain or a 2% gain. So I just wanted to be a little more patient this time. Didn't work out in my favor. Again, if I'd have bought the dip after the break, I would have collected a nice 6%. But I bought the break instead because it just looked like a really great break due to all the indicators from time and sales to level 2 to the chart pattern to the VWAP level to the volume. Everything, man. So I was perfectly happy with what happened, and then that candle just got me out completely. But the second trade, I was disappointed, which is why I just cut it instantly because I have no clue. I think my mindset at the time was more of a revenge trade in that trade, thinking, oh, okay, this dropped really hard from the high 230s to 220. So I thought it could actually have a nice bounce, at least back up to this level, which would have made me break even, which is kind of what I was jumping for. I was like, man, I'm down minus 2.9%. If I dip by it and it has a quick bounce back up here, I could have collected a 10-cent profit, and at 400 shares, that would have been a 4% gain, which would have wiped out the 2.9, and I would have been up 1.1% profit on the day. And that was kind of my thought process when I tried to dip by it, more of a revenge trade to say, no, I don't want to take this red. I'm going to dip by this big red candle. And I immediately regretted it because on the level 2 and time and sales, I was still seeing a bunch of red prints go off. And this started overtaking where you see, like I explained before, where if you see this all the way down, 184 all the way down, and then 185, 186, 187, this could overtake it. Well, it was the opposite. I seen this fully overtaking where it's just straight down chopping away at this. And when I noticed that, I instantly said, dude, I got it. I'm just gonna get out because I'm feeling uncomfortable, and I'm glad I did because boom, you see another big heavy drop. So I was correct on what I seen in the level 2 and the time and sales, which is why I got out instantly 1 minute later and took a 1% loss. So GRNQ, takeaway today, just buy the bounce, man. Buy the bounce of the break, and you would have been fine today if I'd have just bought the bounce. I would have taken a 5 or 6% profit. So, just buy the bounce, man. And then again, patience, man. I waited till 8:30 to come into the market. And again, this was nice, but I could have been more patient and caught something like this, backside of the move. I could have been more patient and caught something like this, backside of the move, So maybe that's going to put in hindsight too, because I believe a lot of my good ones were like after 9 o'clock. So I'm going to look into that some more in my data and realize that I'm better on the backside of the move. Like even this morning, I was up early, but instead of jumping into the market, I decided to, so gang from personal development, man. I was listening to some Jim Rohn. I was listening to some fucking Tony Robbins. You know what I mean? I was listening to a bunch of shit. Just to continue to develop my mind and grow my mind and make sure I keep the proper perspective and the right mindset for what I'm trying to accomplish in life. So, yeah, man. So, hey, I could have been more patient and maybe captured something of this. I could have been more patient and maybe captured some of this. But, and if I would have never even traded GRNQ in the first place because, boom, after that, all you see is downfall. After 8:45, if I'd have came in after 8:45, I wouldn't even have touched this. Horrible. But I just happened to come in when it was having that nice pop. So yeah, man, maybe something else I need to take into perspective for tomorrow. I believe I'm going to have more day trades tomorrow. I believe so. I'll look at my calendar and know for sure. But yeah, man, so GRNQ minus 3.94% today. 72.2 market cap, 16.53 float. That's great. Volume was at 100 million. That's great. Again, it's not the market conditions for those particulars to make me a lot of money or a high percent gain, which is what I'm typically looking for. So I believe that's it for today. That's a good review for today, man. So till next time, I'm out. I